So I'm providing an update to the previous video I uploaded about this incident, which occurred on October 1st, 2025, so literally 7 days ago, where the University of Washington Psych 210 class, led by their professor, Nicole McNichols, chased another person who I thought at the time was a student, but may not be a student. It's hard to say at the moment. Nevertheless, chased another person across campus who they claimed was a Nazi. I have done as much investigation into this matter as I possibly can, and my conclusion is that he is definitely not a Nazi. What he actually is a unfortunately disabled man having a mental health crisis who I still don't know why he was on the campus, but he was going into the class to disrupt it. Did he say anything Nazi related? I don't have any actual real evidence of that other than the claims of the people in the classroom. The video doesn't show it. There's nothing on video of him saying that. There is a snippet of the local news claiming to be interviewing him where he is implied to be a neo-Nazi. However, watch the video.
Campus. Police eventually detained him. His name is Sam Polyak. He says he came here to troll and told me he believes in that ideology. So I asked him straight up, "Are you a neo-Nazi?"
Yes.
UW says he's not a student here and they're banning him from campus. Campus police are still investigating and the prosecuting attorney's office is waiting for those charges to be referred.
It's very clear that it has been edited in a way that he may not have actually answered the question that way. Let's put it that way. I always find it very suspicious when the news does an interview with somebody, but they only give you like less than 2 seconds of what they actually said during that interview. So it's suspicious. But let's presume that he did do some Nazi things and he did claim that he was a Nazi. He obviously isn't a Nazi because he has Down syndrome. Here is a snippet of audio that I was able to find from social media from a video that he had uploaded a long time ago that has since been removed from his social media accounts. Almost all the videos on his social media accounts have been removed, by the way. He's tried to privatize himself as much as he can. But you can clearly see that he is in distress. He is not a mentally well person. He is suffering from mental health issues.
Bro, do you know how it feels to get fucking made fun of every single day, bro? Every single day for 3 years straight, bro. Even at Roblox, nobody fucking liked me, bro. I don't fucking know, bro. I've been poor, bro. I don't make any money, bro. I'm fucking... Everyone's making money, bro. I can't do shit, bro. I'm literally fucking... I can't come up with anything, bro. I really can't. Just shut the fuck up and leave me alone. Bro, I don't even know what to do anymore. Like, all these people are so fucking mean to me, bro. I can't even stand. You fucking scammed me, bro. I would have been the best party you would have ever fucking had. And you fucking scammed me. You fucking scammed me, bro. I would have been everything, bro. I did everything, bro. And you fucking scammed me, bro.
Okay? And he has Down syndrome. He claims that he was trolling, reportedly claims that he was trolling. I would believe that. I believe that what probably happened is that he's fallen into the wrong crowd, and this is most likely a Chris Chan situation, where he has been motivated to do something like this by other people. I don't have any real hard evidence of that, but just the fact that he's involved with... So the background is that this person's name is Sam Polyak. He is somewhat known in the crypto space mildly as a bit of a scammer, mostly as a scammer who was scammed by other scammers. He has Down syndrome, as I mentioned before. He has fallen into the wrong crowd of people, and he's kind of a minor Chris Chan-like meme person. He's not a real Nazi. He was probably put up to this. I kind of doubt that he decided to do this all on his lonesome and record it. He most likely was recording the footage for other people to see who had put him up to this. Now, with the real situation here isn't so much that the disruption caused by Sam Poliak, but more the reaction of the 400, reportedly according to the website of the university, 400 students in the class who decided to follow their professor to chase this guy across campus, one of whom, clearly on video, maced him in the face, and several more students who, after he was maced, chased him down, threw him to the ground, and hit him in the head several times, including the back of the head several times, on this person who, once again, has Down syndrome. That is the actual truth of the situation, and unfortunately, the university, of course, is in PR disaster mode. They are trying very hard to spin this as the students doing some type of noble behavior, virtuous behavior. They chase the Nazi. He's not really a Nazi. He's a mentally ill person who is having a mental health crisis, who for whatever reason decided to have this crisis on the school campus. And instead of the professor, Nicole McNichols, doing what she was supposed to do as the professor of a classroom of 400 students, which is get them under control to not chase somebody across the campus and violently assault them, she instead led the pack, led them toward doing this very thing. It is very clear on video that she is not turning to face the crowd of students to get them to go back to the classroom and resume the class, but instead to chase them down. In fact, she even runs after him, and then everybody else runs after him, including the male students who run ahead of her and throw him to the ground, throw Sam Poliak, the Down syndrome kid, to the ground and hit him in the head several times. That is what actually transpired. And unfortunately, it seems that the university has done no disciplinary action against Professor McNichols for this, even though it is clearly assault. It's clearly a felony, what she and the rest of these students did. It's clearly grounds for her termination, because a professor leading a mob of students to violently attack a mentally ill person just because they disrupted the class is absolutely batshit insane behavior. And that she should continue to be teaching this class with, is just absolutely insane. It's completely unacceptable, and I'll tell you why it's completely unacceptable. I want to relate a story to you from my own past that I think is related to this incident. When I was in junior high, I got into a fight with another boy at school. I had mentioned during math class, I was talking to another friend and mentioned that my grandparents were German. And this other boy claimed that because they were German, therefore my grandparents must be Nazis. Now, of course, ethnically German are my grandparents, but they were not in Germany during World War II. My grandparents' parents had immigrated to the United States in the late 19th century. In fact, my own grandfather fought in World War II as an American soldier in the U.S. Army. So I took a great offense to that, and he refused to apologize for that claim. So we went outside. The classroom was right by the exit for the building, and we had a fist fight over it. I, at this time, really didn't know how to fight. This other boy was more athletic than I was. He had several years of wrestling. I had only learned wrestling in grade school PE classes. So he was able to successfully take me to the ground and beat my face bloody. He then got off of me, and I got back up and continued trying to fight until a teacher broke up the fight. But clearly I lost, even though one might say I was in the right. And yet, was I really in the right? We were fighting over a kid saying something offensive, deeply offensive to me, but I didn't need to fight him. In fact, that's actually the wrong choice. But I didn't learn that until I later took martial art classes studying Taekwondo after this fight, so I could learn to fight because I wanted to beat him up. I eventually gained strength that I could, in fact, beat him up, and I did have other fights with other kids that I always won. I never lost a fight after I learned Taekwondo. I've never lost a fight since in my life. I've been in numerous fights. But I haven't been eager to fight. Those have all been fights that I didn't throw the first punch and I didn't try to start the fight. Because I learned in Taekwondo that just because you have the power to do violence against others doesn't inherently give you the right to do it, regardless of what they say and do. I started to learn more about philosophy. I started to learn more about critical thinking from this point in. And one of the things that was very important to learn was the foundations, of course, of American government, classical liberalism, enlightenment, the right to free speech. And of course, the right to free speech has to protect the speech of others that you find offensive, because it is only offensive speech that upsets other people enough to want to do violence against them in the first place. Nobody wants to commit violence against speech that doesn't offend. So obviously, the right to speech can only exist in an environment in which offensive things are permitted to be said and not retaliated against with violence. Now, some people might say this only applies to the federal government censoring free speech, and it allows people to commit violence personally and privately against others. But this is, of course, nonsensical. That's a felony called assault. In all 50 states of the United States, using violence against other people just because they say offensive things to you is a crime. This doesn't absolve him of saying offensive things, of course. But justice is proportional. And it's not proportional to use violence against somebody else merely because they said something that was offensive to you. Certainly not to lead 400 students to attack somebody over it. And that is the nuance of the situation that I think a lot of people overlook. Now, I said I've been in many fights over the course of my life, and that, of course, makes sense. In the Army, I was trained as an infantryman. My whole job was to fight other people. Not just fight them, of course, but to actually kill them. So, of course, I have the skills to commit violence upon others, but I rarely use them. In the situations that many other people would, I rarely use violence. I also know de-escalation techniques, which I learned when I worked as a private security officer. And I have relied on those in many situations in order to de-escalate otherwise violent situations from occurring. I own a bodybuilding and powerlifting gym, and during my first year of operation, there were a couple situations where I had to use de-escalation techniques on somebody who came into the gym who shouldn't have been there and didn't want to leave. And I have always avoided having to go to violence against other people. I've been able to use my words and my presence and rhetoric to convince people to not fight. The point here is that many people today are too conditioned toward violence and feeling that they are righteous in committing violence merely because other people offend, merely because they do some minor nuisance. Trespassing, being a disturbance, are not grounds to go and attack other people, nor to even chase them. These things are obviously wrong to do. They don't conform to the American political system, nor our common values as national identity, which is rooted in classical, liberal, Enlightenment values. It's simply not aligned with the Enlightenment to use violence against other people just because they say things or do things that upset you. More than anything, college campuses in the United States are not supposed to be places where professors radicalize their students and encourage them to use violence against other people for their speech. Colleges are supposed to be a place where people can debate and freely speak ideas and learn. Critical thinking, amongst all things, is what colleges are supposed to be teaching, because colleges are supposed to be teaching people to be an intellectual, not to be an anti-intellectual who goes around using violence against other people for their speech. Intellectualism is expressly defined by using critical thinking to explore the world and solve problems, not to use our baser, more primitive instincts, such as Professor McNichols taught her class to do this day. This is why she's not really aligned with what colleges are supposed to be teaching in the first place, setting aside the questionable nature of her class, which apparently is an easy credit simply for watching hardcore pornography and writing essays about it. Setting aside that questionable nature of her class, she's demonstrated that she does not possess the integrity or the values of what higher education is supposed to be about, which is to teach students to use critical thinking and to restrain themselves, at the very least, from going around attacking other people for their rhetoric. So this is everything that's wrong with higher education. Everything that's wrong with higher education. She should be fired, and if the University of Washington doesn't fire her, that's really indicative of the type of radicalization that's going on that college campus, as well as other ones elsewhere in the country. It's rather appalling that so many people seem to think, they imagine themselves in this fantasy that they are just like soldiers in World War II of the Allied forces fighting against Nazis. No, you're not. We are not in a war against Germany almost a century ago, okay? We are American citizens who some people have within our citizenry has decided other people don't have a right to free speech and that we should just use violence against other people for their speech. And that is not aligned with our values, and that is how republics actually collapse. Because if you actually know anything about Nazism, you would know that the whole justification for Hitler to gain dictatorial power in Germany in the first place is because the Antifa of that time were blamed for doing terrorist bombing attacks. And Hitler was able to successfully convince the powers there, the democratic process that was in Germany at that time, to convince them to suspend civil rights and give him dictatorial power. So no, using violence against Nazis didn't even stop Nazism in the first place. What would have stopped Nazism is people using critical thinking and saying, no, actually, we shouldn't be using violence against other people. We should be using debate and rhetoric to solve our differences and our issues. If that had happened, then the Nazis would never have taken power in Germany in the first place. And simply because you're going to go around using violence against other people you think are saying the wrong thing is not going to prevent fascism or authoritarianism or any other, political ideology you believe to be wrong. It's just going to encourage more of it, because if your political ideology encourages you to use violence against other people for their speech, then you, my friend, are the one who are endorsing authoritarianism and fascist-like behavior. And let us be crystal clear here. I am not defending Nazism or Nazis. I am defending our American way of life, which is classical liberalism. As often attributed to Voltaire, I may disagree with what you say, but I will fight to the death for the right for you to say it. That is an American value. That is what free speech is. It is foundational to our country. It is literally the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. And if you disagree with that, you need to seriously question what it is exactly that you have allowed yourself to be indoctrinated into believing, because it certainly is not aligned with the U.S. Constitution and America.
You're only gonna beat his ass. Oh shit! Oh shit! He's getting his ass beat! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Now, bud. Oh shit.